All right, so let's hurry up and fire through this. I'm embarrassed. Nah, not really. I really don't give a fuck at this point, to be perfectly honest with you. But last week's picks were kind of, I mean, the winners, like it was 10-5, so it's okay. Another losing record against the spread, 7-8. I'm finding this season a little harder for me to predict than usual, but it is what it is. So season to date, I'm 55-38 picking the winners straight up, 44-49 against the spread. Again, not great. Kind of matches Bears football right now. And I know some of you are saying to yourself, why did he say it so quiet like that? I don't tune into this channel for that. I tune in for him to be unhinged when he says it. And you know, it's a performance, right? Like, I can speak like this all the time and be perfectly nice and calm, rational, level-headed. Like, I could change the volume of my voice anytime I want. It doesn't mean that I'm out of control of my faculties. And y'all about had it with that shit. Yeah, my record with picks this year feels very much like Bears football. There you go. You knew you're fucking waiting for it, you sick freaks. Anyways, let's move on and talk about my picks for Week 7 of the 2023 NFL season. Thursday night, I had the Jags plus 2.5. What's the point of the Saints trading for Derek Carr if they're not going to if they're going to have a losing record? They could have started Jameis and had a losing record. They could have tried to find a young quarterback, and had a losing record. I'm just saying. So at least I'm off to a 1-0 start this week. In terms of featured games to talk about this week, I look at a couple of early Sunday matches. And some of you are going to be like, what about the Raiders and Bears? I got my own video talking about that this week. Hey, no way that's a featured game. Come on now. You know better than that. But the Browns versus the Colts could be. The Browns, this is how shitty that loss was on Sunday by the 49ers. They lost to a quarterback that was so bad in the preseason that he was too bad even for Bears football. Let's let that sink in for a moment, shall we? Holy shit. But the Browns, with their defense playing at an otherworldly level, coming to this one, is Deshaun Watson going to play? Hey, maybe he'll stop pussing out. Maybe he'll actually man up and play. But him manning up is not something he's really known for. He just likes to take advantage of people, allegedly. And meanwhile, for the Colts, it was a rough week last week. Now you find out Anthony Richardson's out for the season, going to get the shoulder surgery. And for the Colts and their fans, like, what felt like it could be a really encouraging, promising, insight in the future type of season feels like an utter blue ball disappointment type of ordeal. That's where you're at. The Browns are favored by 3.5 in this one. I'll take Cleveland minus the 3.5. Another really intriguing matchup on Sunday. It's the Lions traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. The Ravens are 3-point favorites here. Here come the Lions, right? They're a contender right now in the NFC. I think there are 4 teams that you could classify as contenders, depending upon your perspective. It's the Eagles, it's the 49ers, it's the Cowboys, it's the Lions. And here come the Lions, 5-1, in a good spot. And if they could somehow find a way to win this one, it'd be really, really big. Meanwhile, for the Ravens, this is a team that comes off of the win in London. Lamar's playing solid football right now as a passer. His receivers actually caught the ball in the last game. That's always an added bonus. Big plus in my book. And they come in as 3-point favorites at home. What was it, the last time they played? Didn't it Justin Tucker kick like a 60 or 61-yard field goal to win it? This shit could come down to that, right? Like, it could be that close. I'm going to pick the Lions here, put the old Jeff Jinx on them. Give me Detroit plus the 3. Switching over to the late Sunday matchup, you got the Raiders, I'm sorry. I can't get Bears football off my mind. You got the Steelers travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. You've got the Rams as 3-point favorites. I don't think the Rams are that bad. I really don't. They might not quite be in San Francisco's class at the moment, but they certainly feel like a playoff team. Meanwhile, for the Steelers, what do you really make of them? Like, are they any type of playoff threat? Are they even a threat to make the playoffs? I don't know. I'm not a believer in their offense. I don't think their defense is particularly special. Meanwhile, for the Rams, you've got Puka Nacua, and now all of a sudden you got Cooper Kupp coming back, so you got a couple of nice weapons in the passing game. Matthew Stafford is playing, and he's healthy. On defense, you still got guys like Aaron Donald. I like the Rams in this one. Give me Los Angeles -3. The under, kind of marquee late Sunday afternoon matchup, you got the Chargers coming off of that Chargers-like performance, that Chargers-like loss on Monday night. You say to yourself, God, that feels familiar. Who's their head coach, Brandon Staley? Where was he once an assistant at? Oh, Chicago Bears football, I knew thee well. They come here into Arrowhead to take on Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. This is the type of game that you could almost envision the Chargers would jump out to a lead early, then they would find a way to charger it up and lose. And that's kind of what I think will happen here. I'll take the Chiefs to win and the Chargers to cover the spread, and then things are going to get real ugly for Los Angeles really quickly. But perhaps the most intriguing and interesting game of the week has to be Sunday night. It's the Dolphins behind Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, and that explosive, high-powered offense, that well-oiled machine offensively, coming into Philadelphia to take on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, an Eagles team that has to be smarting a little bit because they got swatted down to earth just a tad by the New York Jets. You turn the ball over a bunch on the road. That's a recipe for disaster, and it was, and they got hung with their first loss of the season. Big matchup, marquee matchup. You love seeing this type of game in prime time, right? Because you feel a little more confident, hey, this one's not totally going to blow ass. It should be a good one. You probably ask some questions, and they're fair to ask around Miami. They're putting up a shit ton of points against really bad teams or really bad defenses. What happens when they face somebody that's pretty good, right? Like when they played the Bills a couple of weeks ago, the Bills kind of slowed that shit down a little bit, right? And it was actually Buffalo that beat the hell out of the Dolphins. Philly's defense is better than many of the other defenses the Dolphins have played. So it'll be curious to see in prime time on the road in this spot, how are the Dolphins and their offense able to do? For the Eagles, you have to assume you're not going to be able to totally shut down the Dolphins' offense, so you got to be able to score some points. They got to take care of the football better than they did last Sunday. It was a wake-up game for the Eagles as much as anything else. I like the Eagles in this one, though. Give me Philly -2.5. And then you've got the Monday night game. You got the 49ers traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. 49ers, big spot for them coming off of that loss to the Browns. I would normally laugh and say, 49ers by 6.5 all day long, especially the Vikings without Justin Jefferson. The Vikings who struggled to beat the Bears, in fact, only scored 12 points offensively against Chicago on Sunday. Give me a fucking break. Vikings turned it over a few times, couldn't help but beating themselves. But then I say, the 49ers just lost to the Browns. Just saying. Cleveland left skid marks over San Francisco. Fuck all that. I'm still taking the 49ers -6.5. There's my picks for this week. You don't like them, eat shit.